What does the word relationship mean to you?
Oh gosh.
When two people together, that's the...
A mutual understanding.
Relationship means two people wanting to get to the same destination.
Taking the ups with the downs, the rupture with the repair.
A partnership.
Sometimes you want something with like no strings attached, so you can feel free.
They're craving emotional connection, but without the commitment.
I haven't had a committed relationship.
Being in a committed relationship right now scares me a bit.
Does commitment scare you?
At the moment, yes.
We are moving from a society based on couples to a society based on singles. UK marriages are predicted to decline to historic lows by 2050, a 28% drop forecasted over the next 30 years.
What's wrong with Gen Z dating, Dave? A lot, for sure.
What advice would you give for surviving dating in 2025?
Just don't do it.
Just don't date.
Gen Z is crying out for a groundbreaking documentary that will explore why. So let's explore. Do you feel like when you do have too many options, it is a lot harder to appreciate each person and choose?
Yeah, 100%. It just makes it way harder to commit to an actual relationship because you're always tempted. If you're on Tinder, you can just swipe. You go on Instagram and if you have a girlfriend, you're comparing it to like some top model. You feel like you can always do better.
From my experience, all these guys are just scrolling away. There's like so many different girls and they're like, oh, I could have anyone I want.
Speaking from a male point of perspective, every female has 10, 15 blokes in their DMs. And it's like, how can you compete?
We have become stock daters, which means we are dating multiple people in the same week or some people even on the same day.
They are really apprehensive to delete the apps because they're like, oh, but what if I find someone that's funnier or like clicks with me more or is better looking or we have better sexual chemistry?
Because of the options available, there's also a feeling of disposability. It's very easy to get rid of people if something isn't working. And the thing is with relationships, we take the good with the bad. But when things feel bad or they feel a bit tumultuous or a bit challenging, it's so easy to then build up an avoidant way of approaching relationships because you don't ever really need to work through challenges. You can find another one as quickly.
People are too open to leaving relationships straight away rather than sorting out issues or any problems and seeing where something can go further.
Maximizers are people who scroll for hours on a movie site and they don't end up choosing any movies or they find one, but then they're thinking, oh, maybe there's actually something better out there. So they spend another 2 hours and they either don't end up choosing any movies or they choose one, but they're really unsatisfied because they're already thinking, oh, maybe the first movie would have been better.
Did I make the wrong choice?
Did I make the wrong choice? Exactly. It causes something called choice paralysis. So we don't end up choosing at all. So enter situationships.
What are your opinions on situationship culture in Gen Z?
Situationships, listen, I listen and I don't judge. Yeah, we all got our needs, we need to satisfy them. Yeah.
I've done it before. You just want the, I guess, satisfaction, as bad as that sounds.
Why commit when you can have a situationship? Order your situationship online today for catching feelings, commitment issues, guaranteed heartbreak, or your money back.
A situationship is essentially a connection between two people where it's not quite casual. There is some kind of emotional connection there, there's a rapport there, but it's labelless. They're very likely not monogamous, or at least one party isn't monogamous, which almost brings up the phrase of one person is in a situationship, meanwhile the other person is just single.
So it's basically a relationship without the commitment?
Yes, essentially it's a relationship without the label. Gen Z take labels very seriously, which I think comes with its pros and its cons. I think on one hand, people are a little bit more apprehensive to jump straight into a relationship. On the other hand, I think a lot of people are wanting their cake and eating it. They're craving emotional connection, but without the attachment, without the commitment. I think something really interesting about situationships is that it seems within heterosexual dating it's very gendered. I've noticed that a lot of my girlies are trapped in situationships, but none of my guy friends are. They're chilling, they're absolutely chilling.
Do you think it's because the females, they're looking for the commitment, they're looking for the attachment, whereas it tends to be more the men that don't want to give that label and commitment?
I think there was and still is a social stigma attached to being a single woman. Of course, there are going to be some women who aren't looking for commitment and are happy to be in a situationship, but have you ever heard someone that's happy to be in a situationship?
No, never.
Oh, no.
It doesn't exist.
It's awful, it's awful.
It just feels like a game now. It's like, people don't like, I don't think people just care enough. They just want to like, kind of get laid. Am I allowed to say that, man?
How do you think dating apps have influenced young men's decision when it comes to pursuing a long-term relationship?
There's a big emphasis on like just linking up, or so to speak. No one's really on there to find a long-term girlfriend or boyfriend. Meet up this person, see what the vibe is. They're not fussed about it. It's probably gotten a little bit worse, I would say, in terms of that culture.
People use situationship as just someone that wants to be in an emotional connection with you, sleep with you consistently, essentially treat you like their partner, but they just don't want the commitment and they want to fuck around and do whatever they want.
A situationship is two people lying about wanting the same goal. If it's something someone wants more casual, or someone thinking it's a way to persuade the person into wanting something more serious. I've been in those types of situations. I've known people in those relationships. Never works out.
It can feel a lot more real before it is real, and it can get people attached when the other person isn't necessarily attached. I think there's a lot of room for misinterpretation and misunderstanding.
I think they always have an expiry date. I think they flourish in cities where the concentration of people is higher, the pace of life is faster.
Are most of your friends single or in relationships?
Most of my friends are single.
Why do you think that is?
Because we have more commitments to obviously work or wanting to move up in our career. I feel like the time for a serious relationship becomes like, the window for it becomes smaller.
Historically, when I've worked like very long hours and like my bosses and stuff, it's just meant that they've been single for like 10 years.
I'm trying to focus on work as well as other things in life, and like sometimes I don't get around to dating.
Almost need to make the time, but not too much time. Yes, it can be part of your life, but not like all of it.
In downtime, I would try to date, but equally, I wouldn't want to let my career slip or to take away from my career.
We are in a cost of living crisis at the moment. How would you say that is impacting the formation and maintenance of long-term relationships?
The cost of living crisis has really impacted everyone in the UK in some shape or form. Utilities are just a classic example, and mortgage rates, people are finding it hard to get by. Workism is an ideology where someone is putting first their career and their working hours essentially ahead of anything else. Relationships are second place. It's no surprise that workism is more pronounced for younger generations than before. Opportunities, they're somewhat limited now for going out on special dates.
I don't think I've ever been on an expensive date in my life.
We're trying to work dating around our schedules. You're gonna try to fit in dating before going to the gym or a coffee right after work.
The formation of relationships now is much harder than it was before, say, 2022.
I remember I heard someone refer to the 2023 recession as the cost of shagging crisis because of how much it was impacting young people's dating and sex lives, having to live at home with their parents. I know a lot of people who move in with their partner really quickly, or their partner moves in with them into their house share very quickly to save money. And I think that can really kill a relationship.
In terms of maintaining a relationship, it's become a lot more centered around finances and household finances than before. And when COVID happened, it did cause relationships to buckle. And I think we're seeing that a little bit with the cost of living crisis, but maybe played out over a longer period.
So you'd say people prioritise work before they prioritise a relationship nowadays?
Yeah, I mean, I can only speak for most of my friends that would prioritise work.
How do you think shows like Love Island influence Gen Z audiences?
In a positive way, because it kind of teaches the wider audience to open up a little bit more. Because you see people on there that are opening up, they're showing their feelings, not just girls, guys as well. So it can teach the wider public to actually be vulnerable enough to do that. Also, negatively, well, you see everyone on Love Island, everyone's got a 6-pack, 6'5", whatever. People will be seeing that and thinking, oh, I'm not good enough to go on there. Oh, I'm not good enough for this person because her type is 6' plus with abs and all the rest of it. And they'll look at themselves less favourably.
Do you think it sets an unrealistic image to the film?
Yeah, that's the body image stuff is, it's a lot to live up to.
I feel like music and rap music has such a big influence on our generation. Do you feel like rap music shapes men's attitudes towards dating women?
Definitely. A lot of people look up to these kind of guys and they're living the rock star lifestyle, you know, they're going on tour, sleeping with whoever they want. And every guy believes they can do that as well.
All they're talking about is sex, drugs and violence. It's not like your old school hip hop and R&B song, you know, where they're singing in the rain and they want their girl back and things like that. It don't work like that no more. It's a different kind of music video that they're watching.
Porn can be very poisonous. Because again, it just isn't real life, and you'll find a lot of young guys will consume too much of it, and then it causes all sorts of problems, like mental health. I don't watch any of it because I don't want it nowhere near my brain, but like a lot of people will overconsume it, and then it just becomes a toxic cycle of like stuff happening down the road, and it's just, it's just not good.
But how does this hypersexual culture shape attitudes towards intimacy? According to Urban Dictionary, the hoe phase is a phase in your life that occurs when you are fine with exploring promiscuous activities and connecting with random people. These activities do not always end in sex, but can lead to it. This phase helps you establish what you like and don't, explore your sexuality, and have fun. You have the ability to stop these actions or snap out of the phase.
Do it.
I would say hoe phase, slay, like power to the
You need it.
No, it's like a rite of passage though. Do you think like when you go to uni especially, it's all like, let's go out partying, like woo. So I do think, and yeah, like there's so many icons in pop culture as well, like Sabrina Carpenter, you know, it's all like girl empowerment.
So I saw you made a video on why nobody wants to be a hoe anymore. Why has there been that shift?
I think that the hoe phase did do some good. I think it highlighted that not only are women capable of wanting and having casual sex, but also that sexual satisfaction is very important to a lot of women. On the other hand, I think a lot of women are realizing how much of a scam it is. After a few years and it's sort of cementing into popular culture within Gen Z, I think it started to be seen as a rite of passage. I've seen so many people say, oh, but you know, you have to have a hoe phase. Oh, you're single, oh, you've got to hoe yourself around kind of thing. And not everyone wants to do that. Sex is very intimate, and there is like that sinking feeling of, you know, you've gone to have a little sneaky link and you're like, like so fun, and then like they don't text you the next day.
And it does have them feeling low about themselves.
Yes, absolutely. It almost pressured women to, you know, have sex completely unattached and be fine with it, and it's totally fine if you're a woman who does not like doing that.
100%. Some women do want attachment, and that's okay as well.
There are 4 core attachment styles. The first one is secure. And by secure, it's stable. It's where 2 parties are able to have a level of intimacy and a level of autonomy in that relationship. And they're able to navigate conflict, not easily, but certainly more successfully than some of the other attachment styles. And then you've got anxious attachment styles. If you think about where that comes from, it's often an environment where there was inconsistency in the care. So there would be nurturing, but there would also have been pulling away or intrusive parenting. So what that looks like is they really love connections and they really love relationships. Sometimes they can actually be quite preoccupied with relationships. And they really fear abandonment. Abandonment is definitely one of the biggest challenges that they struggle with. What you often see with these types of attachment styles is kind of a clinginess, often, and over-dependence on their partners. Then on the other side of the spectrum is avoidant attachment styles. It often evolves where the parents or the primary caregiver has been unavailable, and they've been perhaps a bit neglectful during the parenting. And this often leads to a sense of avoidance of intimacy and an avoidance of connection. They often downplay relationships and actually don't really want to get as intimate with their partners. Yeah. And then you have kind of a more disorganized style, which is kind of a combination of the two. So you typically see a bit of a push and a pull. So I really want to get close, but I'm very scared of commitment.
I definitely have an anxious attachment style. I've been getting therapy to deal with it because I know it's not the best, or I guess they're not the best one to have, but is there a best one to have?
That's a positive thing, getting therapy though, and understanding yourself and knowing that that's your attachment style.
In my relationship, I want to improve our relationship. So me knowing that I'm anxious about our relationship and doing something to move on from that is only going to improve our relationship.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think about putting all your eggs in one basket when you're dating?
I am for that. I think if you feel something, you should go for it. My current boyfriend, I met on a hookup.
Oh, no way.
On Grindr, we always say the yellow pages. I walked out of that knowing I was going to date the man.
So you would say go all in when you meet the right person, just put all the eggs in one basket and just give that one person your all, go for it?
I think life's too short to be hesitant about stuff. If you feel it, just go for it 100%. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it'll either work out or it won't, but you'll be okay.
Putting your eggs in one basket, honey, no. No? No, girl, because in the airport, when you go on holiday, there's loads of countries, correct? Mm-hmm. We catch flights to go to multiple countries. So why on earth would you put your eggs in one basket? Mm-hmm. Life is for living, it's for experiencing and learning. So on that note, do not put your eggs in one basket. Mm-hmm. Open up to multiple resources.
If someone's trying to commit from the get-go, really, really pushing long-term commitment, then that obviously does probably scare a lot of people, and it would scare me. But it's almost like a natural thing. I've been seeing each other for 2, 3, 4 months, something like that, right? And then it just kind of leaning towards commitment, and then I don't think that should be scary. I don't think it is.
There's 2 main reasons why anxiously attached people are really attracted to avoidantly attached people. One is because they are trying to unconsciously fulfill some unmet needs from their childhood. You grew up with inconsistent validation from your parents, inconsistent attention. You sometimes got it, sometimes you didn't. It's like a lottery. You never know what you're going to get. So anxious people become really attached to their primary caregiver because they can't focus their attention outwards on the, playing or the real world. They have to focus and make sure their parent doesn't leave their side or they're not being abandoned. And so anxiously attached people, they try to replicate these familiar patterns in their adult relationships. The second reason, and this might come as a surprise, is because anxiously attached people are actually avoidant themselves. They're just covert avoidant, they mask it, and they use the avoidant person's distance and wall that they put up as a safety net for them to keep their emotional distance, because actually they're terrified of intimacy and vulnerability and getting hurt again.
I had a very serious pattern of going for avoidant men, and not just avoidant, but totally unavailable. I would have some sort of blind spot or numbness of the mind when I was meeting them, going, I kind of see the red flag, but I just don't want to see it, I feel very excited about this relationship. And so I had a really bad pattern like that. I used to view it as, why do I keep going for these avoidants? And finally I woke up and I went, why am I avoiding, people who are available? I'm the avoidant.
Do you feel like when you're catching feelings for someone, you want to kind of end it before it becomes something and kind of avoid it?
I feel like a lot of guys get scared to get in a committed relationship to get hurt again, especially if they're in love and all that stuff. But yeah, it can definitely, you can hurt yourself because she might be, the girl of your dreams, and you've ended it because you're scared.
With dating now, it's all online majority of the time. Even my grandparents, they met at a dance.
So how we met is how most relationships are nowadays, social media platforms. It all started in the DM, down in the DM. It went down in the DM. And then it moved on to Snapchat, and then as we all know, FaceTime. And then we met in person.
In this generation where it's so easy to compare yourself on social media to other people in relationships, do you feel like social media can exacerbate anxious attachment?
100%. Yes, I think social media can exacerbate anxious attachment.
Oh, completely. Social media is the #1 media that Gen Z consume. Gen Z, we're always on our damn phone.
You want to communicate, you want to get to know one another, and you want their social media presence to be active.
There's this kind of digital hyperconnection. So most times people tend to be online. And the moment you send someone a text message and they don't reply, there's often linked to a bit of anxiety because it's like, well, why have you not replied? Are you ghosting me? And there's kind of a lot of anxiety in that mix.
Going through like your Instagram and having a good day and seeing a picture of a hot girl and seeing the first person that liked it is the guy that you like. You know, and life would be easy if social media didn't exist in that way.
I feel like that is such a huge thing Gen Z have to deal with. And it's something that causes a lot of problems in relationships. How would you advise girls dealing with that?
There's obviously a very fine line to toe between having boundaries and being, you know, overexerting a bit too much control. But also, I'm sorry, I don't think it's boyfriend behavior to be liking bikini pics. Like, am I crazy for thinking
I
that?
completely agree.
You know, and it's really interesting because we're at a point now where because of like the digital age is essentially changed the way that relationships are formed, and a lot of young men sort of go, it's just a picture. It's just a picture. Like, it's not that deep because it's a new problem, because we can't ask our parents for advice on like, my partner's liked an Instagram picture because like they don't know, it didn't used to happen to them. I think with social media and especially TikTok, there's been this rise of TikTok dating advice.
I've seen some TikTok of dating advice. Sometimes I go there if I need that little extra bit of confidence.
TikTok dating advice is an echo chamber of misery because TikTok works on a For You algorithm. The more you watch of something, the more the algorithm will serve you the same or similar content. You sort of end up trapped in like this TikTok dating advice bubble. And it's a shame because I definitely look at it from an empathetic stance where I see a lot of women who have been really hurt and in turn they've really got their guard up, but in turn they're giving really bad dating advice. And it's almost like a lot of women are sort of working each other up into a bit of a frenzy. People focus on very trivial things like how much he's texting you. If he hasn't texted you all day, that means he doesn't like you.
Digital body language is basically the body language of texting. So it's things like response time, emoji use, message length. For a generation that was raised on their phones, these signals are crucial.
We end up putting so much value in these really trivial matters like texting.
It's very, very open to misinterpretation. So 56% of Gen Zers state that they've overanalyzed someone's digital body language.
But on the other hand, with the whole situationship culture and everything that is born from that, the girlies have got their guard up, and I understand why people are being very harsh with their dating advice. There's positives. There are YouTube videos, on podcast episodes, on TikToks, on Instagram Reels even, where women are talking about how much they love being single, how being in a relationship should not be the be-all and end-all of your existence. And not only that, but how important it is to build a fulfilling life outside of your romantic relationship. A lot of women are feeling very like emboldened in a good way to raise their standards.
Can I ask you if you're on any dating apps?
Yeah, okay. I'm not.
What do you think is the best way of meeting a partner in 2025?
Now it's probably like when you're out having fun with your friends, I think it's safe, it's comfortable. You're more likely to be yourself, really, yeah.
So not on the dating apps?
I've been on a couple of dating apps. Not a fan, to be completely honest. I think it's very much sort of like a short-term gains type of thing. You never done me any favors like that.
There's an interesting decline in usage in the past few years. More Gen Zers want to meet their partner in person. Dating apps are losing a lot of users, specifically young users. Things like running clubs and in-person events like stranger dinners are becoming more and more popular.
When you meet someone in real life, say you were introduced to them, often there's kind of an awareness and a little bit of an accountability that happens. So you're not always as inclined to say ghost, because that will have a knock-on impact on your reputation, right? But where it's online, it's quite easy to run away almost. It's quite easy to exit that relationship without any real consequence or repercussions for doing so.
She was one of my best friend's friend. After moving to Montreal for university, we went out on like friends dates, and after a certain point I told her, I think I like you, so yeah.
What is your opinion on dating apps?
I think at this stage of my life, they're probably not for me.
Nah, not for me. I've been on them like years and years ago, but I haven't touched them for a number of years now.
From a young male's perspective,
Yes.
what are the pros and the cons of dating apps?
Time consuming is a con, and I still have friends on them, and they're on them all the time. It's like a part-time job almost. You're behind the screen, so it kind of eliminates that proper human interaction.
Everyone just ghosts you. It's one of them. You speak to someone for 2 days and never hear from them again.
There's a lot more dating app fatigue, and people just aren't into it as much anymore. And I think, myself included, very much looking to meet people in person and less on screen.
When you meet someone in real life, like right now, you can look at their posture, how they carry themselves. That lacks on a dating app.
I've even had it myself where my friend said to me, reply to this message for me. And he's handed me the phone to reply back to the girl that he's talking to. And I'm just like, but if you met her in person, what would you do then?
Yeah. Do you think it's became something that men can go to for like an ego boost or for some validation, get some attention?
Dating apps essentially are like a validation machine for straight men. Like they can go on there, they can see all the people that are attracted to them, all the people they've matched with. They may even get compliments if it's so crazy. And a lot of men really struggle to let that validation go.
I have female friends and they literally say, yeah, if I'm feeling down about myself, then I'll just go on the dating app.
Do you feel like the mental health among Gen Z is poor compared to other generations?
Based on the research, yes, in terms of anxiety, depression, and a lot more emotional distress.
What you would expect, social media, smartphones, increased FOMO, comparing your life to other people, thinking you're not good enough. It also exposes people to cyberbullying. It also hijacks their dopamine systems and reduces their ability to self-regulate.
Some of it is the economic and the kind of more macro factors, climate change, or even fallouts from COVID and the isolation that would have happened during that time.
The reduction in third spaces like clubs and libraries, as well as the offset of remote working, remote studying. So our social skills are actually stagnating. This connection to the digital world cut our connection to the real world and nature, which has been actually shown to decrease stress and anxiety and, help us regulate our nervous systems. Kids nowadays, you'll see them playing on an iPad or scrolling on TikTok. They're not playing in parks anymore. And that's actually crucial because through free play, we learn how to negotiate. It increases our confidence. We learn how to talk to people, how to interact. It's not news that we're going through a loneliness epidemic. So Gen Zers are extremely isolated. And so we have become really scared to approach people in real life. 56% of Gen Zers haven't approached a potential partner or didn't get in a relationship out of fear of rejection.
A study published in the Journal of Counselling and Development found that men tend to use fewer emotion words and are less likely to discuss emotional topics in intimate relationships compared to women. Something that we don't speak about a lot is like men's mental health and relationships. Have you ever struggled with that?
No. I'm a very hard-headed person. I kind of...
Quite headstrong.
Yeah, I kind of don't want to say bottle up my emotions, but I do. I just kind of get on with it, which probably ain't good, but I
think that would be a lot of men in relationships.
Yeah.
They wouldn't feel as open to just like talk about their feelings or what they're going through.
I've been anxious in relationships, but it's not something I would put onto someone else.
For me personally, and this is just how I am anyways, I don't tend to lean on my partner when it comes to if I'm going through something.
My therapy is like gym, you know, like I get over stuff like that, doing stuff like, yeah, you can talk about it and it is good to talk about it, but the way I deal with it, you know, I just go put my head down in the gym.
Yeah.
I kind of distract myself and like it works.
I would always deal with it internally or mentally or through exercise.
I think there's just a stigma really, just around men being men. Maybe men are a bit scared. They may be scared of what their partner would think as well. I've got stories of like friends and people I know, for example, when they're trying to lean on their partner and their partner just straight up said man up.
Is that something that you'd want to change with how you handle it in relationships and being a bit more open?
Yeah, I would say so. For me, it takes a while for me to warm up to someone. I would say everyone should definitely strive to talk about their emotions more and their feelings, especially if it's with someone that they love.
Richard Todd Casey, Senior Family Law Barrister. Could you tell us a bit more about what you do?
I deal with relationship-generated disputes. I'm Senior Barrister, as you said, King's Counsel.
Can you give an overview of how divorce rates have fallen and risen over the last 50 years?
In, say, 1960, you're talking about 25,000 or so divorces. By 1993, the figures are at the highest they're ever going to be, 165,000 or so. And then surprisingly, the numbers fall away. And so by 22, 23, you got about 2/3 that number, about the 110,000 mark.
Wow. And why do you think the divorce rates have decreased?
A number of reasons. One is there are a lot less people getting married. I mean, if you take 1972, for example, you've got 450,000 people getting married. It's only slightly more than half that now.
Do you have any comments about the change in social attitude towards marriage?
It's an absolute disaster.
Oh, wow.
We really need people to get married and have families for there to be a future.
Historically, a woman's value has been placed on whatever man she's dating, she's married to, she's with.
You can start to feel that pressure to settle down, to
Absolutely.
have kids, even if that might not be what you want.
We are realizing that heterosexual marriage and sometimes the heterosexual family unit is a bit of a scam for women. Through statistics, we know that women take on more household labor, more domestic labor, more childcare duties, even if they're working equal hours, even if the woman is the breadwinner, the woman is picking up more around the house. Women are really raising their standards because they know that the man that they are with could be their future husband, could be the future father of their children.
Can you explain what a prenuptial agreement is?
Yes.
And what are the usual terms?
Yes. So a prenuptial agreement is something that people enter into at the time when they're thinking about getting married. So it takes place before the wedding itself. People are looking to say, well, what we build up together will still split 50-50. But that which I inherit or that which I've had before the marriage or exceptionally perhaps what I might get even after marriage, I should keep and you should keep yours. And we call that a separate property regime. They're about people's right to choose the relationship, the partnership that they're going into.
To what extent have prenups been normalised?
Very much, very, very much.
So you would always advise someone marrying someone with a lower income than them to have a prenup in place?
I would always advise them not to.
Oh, not to?
Absolutely.
Oh, wow.
Simply because I'm not romantic and I think you should take your chances. I've got 4 children, I would say to every single one of them, don't do it. Simply because it's an expression of faith. It is a lot like insurance. And you can say, well, it's crazy not to have fire insurance, say, for your ship. Or there again, you could say, no, this ship is so well built, I don't think it'll ever catch fire. And of course, we all know what happened to the Titanic. I would say, you know, we're going to take the chance. We're going to throw caution to the winds.
I agree with you. I'm an old romantic. I think I would be a bit offended if my future husband said he wanted a prenup.
I think it's so much nice to say, no, we're going on this journey together. We sink or swim together.
People tend to have higher expectations. They know what they're looking for now. They know what a good relationship could look like. And there's less likelihood that they're going to settle. They don't want to settle, so to speak.
Women only swipe right on 4.5% of guys. Men are a bit more generous. They swipe right on 62% of women. But if you look at women, that means that they dismiss 95% of potential partners from the offset.
There's kind of an expectation of the outcome. So you want this perfect, idealistic partner, but there's a process, there's a journey that it often takes to get there. And people don't always have the patience for that.
People don't have high standards. They have unrealistic criteria, or they think they have high standards. When you ask them, like, what are those high standards? They say, oh, they need to look 10 out of 10, they need to be super hot, they need to read my mind, pay for everything. And what's really interesting is that as a generation, we've become way more lonely. And yet we've become really picky, and we have these really high standards.
You can set your parameters of like, I need the guy I'm talking to be 6'2" and over, so that eliminates everyone under that height. But that could be your soulmate.
That could be your person.
Yeah.
Often people just want the shiny, the magical, like you see on social media actually.
How can Gen Z improve their dating strategy so that they can have more healthy relationships?
Don't get caught up in the superficial stuff, like how they look, if they're making a lot of money or not. Look at things like, do they seem like a kind person? Do they seem serious? Are they texting you consistently? Don't chase the feeling of obsession or Hollywood movie-like sparks, because this is what Hollywood has done to us, has created this unrealistic expectations, like, oh my God, I have to be obsessed with them and they have to be obsessed with me from day one. And actually, if you look at the research, and Lori Gottlieb talks about this in her book, Marry Him, a lot of the couples that are in happy long-term relationships, they didn't feel the sparks. And actually, that crazy chemistry can be a red flag for many people.
It's toxic relationships that give you the sparks. It's the ups and downs, it's the back and forth. Whereas in healthy relationships, you feel more safe and stable, and that's why you might not have those sparks that you're looking for. Do you feel like social media has caused Gen Z to have idealistic expectations for love? Can you talk to me about the crisis of expectation?
I heard about the phrase crisis of expectation in Sean Faye's book, Love in Exile. Essentially, as our communities have gotten smaller and smaller, as we become more severed from each other due to socioeconomic circumstances, having to move away, working more, not having time to nurture our friendships, our family ties, in turn, we begin putting more and more expectation on our romantic partner. We actually expect so much from our romantic partner now. We expect emotional support, we expect financial support, we expect someone to help with childcare duties, someone to help with household labor, we also expect someone to have fun with, and someone that we can have great conversation with, someone that makes us laugh. And again, I think having high expectations for our relationships is very important, but also we are expecting what we should get from a community of people from just one person. And in turn, we're also, as straight women, we are expecting this from a man. Straight men have not been socialized to provide the emotional support that we really want from them. So in turn, that is this like massive mismatch with, women expecting a lot and then men not being able to provide it.
What's happening now is that people, are expecting a lot in a very short space of time. So I don't think there's a lot of appetite to build a relationship and to get one off the ground.
I think it is good to have, a list of what you would expect or what you would like from a partner, but there's also being realistic. It is just one person and they can't do everything. So where does that leave us? It's safe to say that dating in our generation is uniquely challenging. There are no easy answers. We're the first generation to grapple with the paradox of choice and situationships, the question of whether dating apps actually work, or whether you should just find someone in real life. Living through the digital age has caused anxiety. The socio-economic state of our world has fueled romantic avoidance. It's impacted our mental health and social skills, transforming the way we attach. There are lots of people with very strong opinions who aren't afraid to share them. let's not forget everything we've been told a relationship must look like. So, whether you're single and confused about why the person you're dating is pulling away, or a parent trying to understand why your kids don't have the confidence to approach people in real life, we hope you feel heard.